Hello! Hopefully I got everything set up right. Very unusually for me, I'm streaming, as you can see the software here, I'm actually streaming on my PC. As in I'm not like running it through my laptop and playing downstairs, I'm playing in the office for once in my life. Hello, the missing bits. Darkwing Spartan, Bean Bean Kingdom, Mike Lundy, and Finn Riga? Finn Riga? I'm definitely mispronouncing that, but you were first. Dark Aura 64, I should have just said that. I'm kinda dumb, Joe Chill, Scooter Dupes. I'm not gonna keep this going the whole stream, but I'll do it for now. Today promises to be a chill time as, in celebration of it being 1 year since Sonic Superstars was released, I'm going to play it. I meant to play as Knuckles. You know what? No, we're starting over. You get unique intro cutscenes depending on who you're playing as, and I wanted Knuckles. Ooh, bad timing, Dawn. So good look at the gym, though. We will just back out Knuckles, because tomorrow is not this. Today is the 1 year anniversary of Sonic Superstars. Tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of, or not the 1 year, the 30-year anniversary of Sonic and Knuckles. Okay, which button? I'm using a Sega Saturn controller, so the on-screen indicators of what buttons to hit are in no way reliable. Knuckles. There we go. Oh, thank you, Plague of Angel. You say, Josh, you are my favorite YouTuber, binging you while I am on the job hunt. Well, best of luck with the job hunt. And, hopefully this is a good thing to have on in the background while you're filling out online applications, which I know are absolute nightmares. Oh, hi, Alien Run. Long time no see. That's such an appropriately... That's a very appropriate thing to say while playing a Sonic game. I mean, Pulp Fiction was a pretty big deal, but it was no Sonic and Knuckles when you're comparing the most important, you know, pop culture events of 1994. Somebody says, sup, what, mind if I ask what the next Sonic video is about? I'm working on that right now. It was supposed to be out today at one time. Isn't that hilarious? It's hilarious from my perspective. I'm working on a video about Sonic and Knuckles. And tomorrow's the 30th anniversary of when Sonic and Knuckles was officially released. Make sure my controller is working with this. Yeah, it's good. But today is actually the 30th anniversary of the day that I got it, because my mom went by Kmart on the way home from work that day and found it available for sale a day early. And, you know, like, video game release dates were pretty much not super well observed at that time. They pretty much just put them out on the shelf as soon as they shipped them. And yeah, they had it a day early, and I was so excited. But that'll be something that I talk about in the video. Darkwing says Mike's a little low. Let me physically reach over and adjust the monitor up here. Okay, is that better? Should be a little bit. I wanted to start this like 2 hours ago. No, that's not gonna work. I wanted to start this like 2 hours ago, and then what I didn't think of, and what I never think of, is the fact that, like, I never stream up here, so I'm gonna have to set everything up to do that. And that's gonna take lots of very specific troubleshooting. Normally, when I stream downstairs in the living room, I'm on, like, a Blue Yeti microphone that I've had, like, since the year that I started the channel. It's what me and Kaylin used to use for our Let's Plays and stuff. What you're hearing now is on, like, the actual, like, professional quality microphone that I used to record videos on. But the thing is, due to Kovar's advice, we were talking about that in the Discord earlier, how many of us have benefited from Kovar's advice. I tend to like have the audio settings like down really far, and then I boost them in post. Huh. Diagonals aren't quite working on my controller right. I'm using a Sega Saturn controller. I don't think it's quite translating right. Hopefully that won't be too much of an issue, though. Also, because it's me by myself here, I won't... It's going to be a little bit difficult to look at the chat too much, but I will do my best. But yeah, I had that monitor on the mic turned up very loud while I was testing, and like, it sounded all right, but like you could hear everything. Like, I mean, you could hear things anyway, like the, you know, sounds of me hitting the controller buttons, but like it was very, very boosted and very clear. Let's see. Fabrico says, speaking of new Sonic videos by you, will you ever make some about the console boost games? Yeah, it's been my intention. I never, ever, ever thought it would take me this long, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it has. But it's always been my intention to, at bare minimum, make a video for every mainline Sonic game. So, the last, like, major Sonic season I did was kind of, it was this collection of games that aren't mainline, but that I felt like provided some, like, historical context, I guess, for... Oh, by the way, that's a mod that I got. The fact that I just got 50 rings out of that. It makes it so once you've gotten an emerald in each zone, the transporter rings just give you 50 rings instead, like they do in Sonic and Knuckles. But yeah, the plan is definitely to do Unleashed and Colors and Sonic 4 and Generations, and that's the bare minimum of what I want to do for next season. And I've always said I might go ahead and do Lost World as part of that too. It would definitely fit with those. Let's see. Well, I'm glad you're looking forward to him, Fabrico. Somebody says, what made Sonic 4 so awful? I mean, I could talk about that for hours, to be honest with you. And I'm somebody who actually doesn't hate Sonic 4. I like Sonic 4. But I think the main thing is that, like, fans had waited for 16 years and dreamt of a game called Sonic the Hedgehog 4. And what Sonic 4 turned out to be was like a $10 budget release mobile game. And as far as like $10 budget, I mean, you know, it literally started out as a mobile game. It was, you can still see in the background of the casino level, like an asset, like neon signboard that says Sonic the Portable. So, yeah, as far as like $10, you know, budget Xbox Live Arcade mobile style games go, I think it was very good. But as far as a game being called Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and the expectations that raised, and like I said, people, including me, had been waiting like almost their entire lives to play that game. And something made with those kinds of, you know, restrictions to that style was just never going to be able to meet those expectations. That said, like, you look at the discrepancy and it's really funny because, like, Episode 1 absolutely enraged fans. Dimps was like public enemy number 1 for a few years after that. But it actually reviewed pretty well because, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like fans had very different expectations than, like, reviewers did. And Sonic games very often sort of have that divide between what the reviewers think and what the fans think. They tend to parse it in very different ways. Oh, somebody says they meant Sonic the Hedgehog 4 for the Super NES. I mean, should have been Speedy Gonzales, honestly. I'm Kinda Dumb says, I can't wait for people to realize you really like Sonic Forces now when we get there. See, the thing is, I take so long to make videos, though, that by the time I do get there, like, the people who grew up playing Sonic Forces might be around, and they might be like, what do you mean people used to hate Sonic Forces? That's so weird. Yeah, Federation Force is a pretty good comparison, honestly. Federation Force, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts. Oh, those cases where they say they like the fandom really wants one particular thing, and they do not give it to you, or even worse, they say they're going to give it to you, and they call it that. It'd be like if Federation Force had been called Metroid Prime 4. I guess would be a good comparison. Pizza Steak says, if you played the Mario and Luigi series, how would you rank them, and any plans for a vid about them? I mean, technically, like 4 years ago, I was supposed to make a video on Superstar Saga, but then I got very sad because of lockdown. I've played... The only one that I've really played is Bowser's Inside Story, but I liked it so much I finished it twice, which, like, I almost never do with RPGs. I liked Inside Story so much that I got Dream Team, the one that came after that, like as soon as it came out, and then it just didn't hit the same, unfortunately. Tutorials really got to me. I would like to get into that Spectral Ring. Let's see here. Oh, Levi Turk says... Is it Levi or Levy? I feel like I've probably asked this before. I apologize. But anyway, when I got this notification, I thought you were reviewing Superstars early. Nah, that's part of it too. I have to go in roughly chronological order. There was last year I kind of did think about, like, I was playing this game so much and obsessing over it so much that I did kind of think about just going ahead and making, like, a video, not like typical critique style, I guess, but just make a video kind of gushing about it. And then I could still go back later and make a, you know, like years from now and make a retrospective on it. But generally, the rule is I have to go in roughly chronological order. I can go back if I want to. I could go do another video about, like, well, like I made that video about Triple Trouble. But as far as the main line goes, you gotta do them in order. Historical context and all that. Oh yeah, I'm glad you're catching another one. We did, I remember that. We decided to spend Christmas streaming. I don't usually fall down here, but I was looking at the chat. It's not my fault, it's your guys' fault. Thank you, Mustard Face, who says Sonic needs more mustard. I mean, he usually eats just his chili dogs with just, you know, plain chili, as far as we can tell. I could try to pause him on that, like, one little frame where you see him holding a chili dog in this game, but I don't think I would be successful. He'd probably be here all night. Mac the Weasel, Fang the Sniper. He has some other name, doesn't he? The Kinster says, Josh, what do you think about boss design and the classic Sonic-style big scraps that you can end in 10 seconds if you know how to get your damage in versus the cycle-based stuff all over Superstars? Oh, you're talking about like how in the old in like the in the Genesis games, you could usually just keep bonking a boss over and over and over again. See, before Superstars came out, one of my like big worries about it was that like it was going to be too compromised for multiplayer. Because, like, I mean, I played through this in 2-player mode once, and I played with somebody else who, like, has also been playing Sonic games like this their whole life, and we had a really, really fantastic time, although it would be an absolute nightmare with any more than 4 people, or if you had people who, you know, of varying skill levels, I think. But, like, to my, like, delight, I was very, very relieved when I saw, like, the level design and saw the game design, and saw that, in fact, this game makes very few compromises for the sake of co-op multiplayer. I suppose if that's the kind of thing that you want, you might wish that it had made some more of them, but no, in terms of level design, this is just, you know, it's Sonic, it's what you want. The one exception to that, though, I think, is the boss design. I think the bosses are the way they are in this game to make multiplayer more, because I mean, even when I did play this in 2-player mode, like, a lot of the bosses, we would just get on there, and, like, between the two of us, we could just wail on them over and over again before they could even move with some of them. So I think that's why they designed the bosses the way they did. That said, and it's not really like, I've played this game so much, I'm gonna have a very different experience with this, and I mean, that's just kind of how it always goes with Sonic games. It's another one of the reasons that fans tend to have a very different view of them than critics, because we play them so much. But I don't think the bosses are nearly as, like, spongy or boring or poorly designed as, like, is often said. But I do think that, like, if you don't remember that you have, like, because the first time I played this, you can go back, like, a year ago today, I was playing this for the first time. And I would like encounter a new boss, and then I would die maybe several times to it, and then I would remember, oh yeah, I have emerald powers. And that's one of the biggest things that can speed up most of the bosses in single-player mode. But just as, you know, the emerald powers are this, like, new mechanic that just I was very bad at remembering that existed. Because, like, unless the game tells you about them. But at the same time, like, on my replays... Why did I stick to the wall there? On my replays, you know, it was a big part of what was so fun about it is, like, replaying the levels, finding new places to use the emerald powers, and more particularly figuring out how, like, badly most of them can wreck the bosses. That said, there are still a few bosses in here that I definitely take issue with. But I'll point those out when we get to them. Trip Story is a blast, but, you know, you kind of have to be a freak for things like that, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is this doesn't remind me of Sonic 1. At least not for the most part. Ooh, thank you, Twilord. I'll read that. Oh, I guess I can just stop here and do it. Mario & Luigi action commands are genius, considering a crude convert of my TTRPG replacing dice with minigames, hang-manish, social, pokerish, parkour, stealth. Yeah, action commands. You know, I talked about this. I was setting some things up back in my Mario RPG and Paper Mario videos. And yeah, action commands, timed hits, whatever you want to call them. Specified inputs is what we call them on the Geek Critique Discord server. Because we're hilarious. Yeah, the thing I keep coming back to is, like, a lot of people say, you know, this game isn't as good as Sonic Mania was, and, like, I don't think it is either, but what I will say for it is that, like, you dig into it and it's very, very, very different than Mania. Its level design, like, its goals, I don't know. Like, if it was just trying to be Mania and failing, like, I think that would be worse, but because this game is trying to sort of be its own thing, its level, like, the level design is more platformy and more, has, like, it does things that, like, Mania never did. And, you know, a lot of the things it does might not be for everybody. This is one of those bosses that there is just no way to do any faster. Can't even climb that wall. It's kind of cool that you gotta make it hit itself like that, though. Merely a Fan says, Superstars is bolder than Mania and takes more risks. Sometimes it hits high, sometimes hits low, but it's not a safe game. Yeah, that's very well said. Cobra Commander says, Josh, do you think the Shadow part of the Generations remake will be worth it? I mean, more than likely. It's retailing for $50 right off the bat, I think. But I actually haven't. I've been very deliberately trying to avoid learning, like, too much about, particularly the level design. Oh, that's unfortunate. I haven't, like, watched any trailers or gameplay videos or anything, and I probably won't actually get it when it comes out. But I am expecting, in terms of, you know, I've heard lots of good things from, like, people who've, like, played it at trade shows and whatnot. Somebody says, what would you say is the most undeservedly acclaimed Sonic game? That's just, it feels mean to answer that. It kind of reminds me, it's the same sort of thing where I hate when people call things overrated. I guess I would say I don't think any of them are undeservedly acclaimed. If they're acclaimed, then that's good for them. even if I don't like them, I'm glad that other people do. Oh yeah, obviously I don't really care about getting the Terrio skin. So also it'll definitely, they always do this. They're like, oh, this is a pre-order exclusive, and then it comes out, and like 5 seconds later they're selling it for $5. Freezer says, Superstars is my all-time favorite Sonic, followed closely by Sonic 3. For me, it goes. 1 is still, I think, Generations, although I haven't. I've kind of been taking a break from it. 1 is Generations, 2 is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, 3 is Superstars. That's where I'm at right now. 4 is Sonic 2, 5 is Sonic Adventure, I think. Is that right? Somebody pull up my tier list. Yeah, I am excited about that low-poly Sonic skin, for sure. Ooh, somebody says, Sky Temple Hype! Yeah, me too. This is one of my favorite stages. Although, a couple of weeks ago, I remember I ranked... I tried to, like, rank all the levels on a tier list, and my reaction to about half of them was like, I love that stage! So, it is. Most of them are pretty high up there for me. Oh, thank you, Alien Run. Yes, I forgot Sonic Mania. That's that's how it goes. Oh, I think my Chaos Emerald display is messed up. That's not how many I should have. Steven Fireball Berry says, what a wild bonus stage. Now I'm trying... Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have gone there. One dead hedgehog. But yeah, it's 1 Generations, 2 3 and Knuckles, 3 Mania, 4 Superstars. That's how it goes. I would give myself grief for literally forgetting about Sonic Mania for a second there, but it's hard to stream and play games and keep up with the chat at the same time. Be kind to yourself if you ever try to do this. My favorite Sonic game is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. Hey, that is a really good one. I love the Sonic art they used for that one. I know Knuckles has that like wall kick thing. This. But it actually always messes me up because, like, I'm always, like, holding up. Well, like I just did right there and it screwed me over. But I'm always holding up as I attach to the wall, so if I'm too close to it, I end up just jumping off of it. That's what 30 years of muscle memory will do to you, though. Let's take the shortcut. Steven says, are there a lot of alternate paths in this one like the other Sonic games? Oh yeah, there's tons. I'm just kind of... with some of these levels, like, even, like, I'm sort of trying to, like, you know, not just go on muscle memory, but, it's been a year of playing this now. Actually, one of my favorite things about this game, and, like, one of the things that I think that this game does better than any other 2D Sonic game is the way that it uses, like, that every level is built around, like, different character abilities. Like, there are very specific alternate paths and things you can do in little sections of levels that are really, really good for Sonic and Tails and Knuckles and Amy, and, like, that really helps with replay value. There's not really much in the way of, like, alternate paths. It's not, like, as extensive as some of Knuckles' sections in Sonic 3K could be. Oh, that was neat. But, like, exploring these levels as different characters or playing through them as different characters does feel like a very notably different experience. Let's see, this is one of those where Avatar's real good. Oh, thank you for becoming a member, Steven. I never promote that YouTube memberships are even a thing. I think you might be member number 2. But if you do become a member, I think I just set it to like $1. I don't remember. I might be wrong about that. But it gets you access to custom emotes in the chat. I love you too, Steven. Steven and I know each other in real life, so it's not weird for him to say that. Our relationship is not a parasocial one. It was $2, okay. Oh yeah, another thing that really, really helps with the bosses in this game, especially ones like this, is modding the music. So most of Sonic Superstar soundtrack, I think, is actually, like, it's inconsistent, but what's there is very, very, very good and fantastic in a lot of cases. The problem is some of the worst tracks in the game are the ones that get repeated over and over and over again, and so they really stick out in your mind more. And the Act 2 boss theme that plays here and through most of the early game, it's called like Early Boss, I believe. It is an example of like I said, one of the worst songs in the game. But so I think that's another reason why like a boss like that would really wear on you when you're just hearing this same little 13-second loop over and over and over again. But yes, this is a music mod. Ooh, join the TGC Discord to have a parasocial relationship. Yeah, YouTube memberships, great way to do that. Joining the Discord if you want to take it to the next level. If you want to take our relationship to the next level. Steven loves you like Shadow loves taking candy from babies. Catching up with the chat a little bit here. Actually, I want to play as somebody besides Knuckles now. I've had enough of him. And remind me, I'm gonna do my very best to remember that I want to go to the shop before I get to like the boss that uses the mecha. Let's see, who should I play as, chat? You decide. Join the Discord and help us settle the ongoing debate over whether Donkey Kong 64 is good. Yeah, we've had like a thread going in the Discord for like the past 5 months about whether or not DK64 is good. Ooh, 3 votes for Amy. We'll go with that. That also lets me see about what the stream delay is at. Amy is so much fun. Like I was talking earlier about how it seems like every stage is very well built and balanced around like different character abilities, and like Amy is just so well balanced. She's very simple because like she's got a double jump. Her hammer gives her a little bit wider of like a hitbox when she's attacking enemies, and then you can hold down the button and do this. So it's very simple. It doesn't sound like it'd make that much of a difference, but man. Especially in like the really platformy sections, just being able to like jump around with her. And I'm very glad that like she's like a consistent part of like the hero crew now. It feels like she's kind of like been like between this and Origins and the Frontiers DLC. It seems like any Sonic game that has multiple playable characters is going to have her as one of them. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite songs in the game. Scooter says, have you tried the Ultrafix mod for Sonic Origins? Yeah, that's sort of the way I as standard play the game. Been following that project for a long time. Here's another boss that just gets absolutely wrecked by Avatar. One thing I appreciate, normally when you select an Emerald Power, you know, you do it with like the right stick. And then you hit, I think, the X button to activate it. And that's great, but they actually set it up so like you can still like operate the Emerald Powers with, if you're using an old school controller without an analog stick. And you do that with like L and R, and it's not as as fast, but I really appreciate that they still put that in there. Ooh, Steven, Tails is super, super fun in this game, too. Actually, let's go ahead and switch to him, so I can show off what I'm talking about. Or replay Pinball Carnival Act 1 because I'm using a Saturn controller and don't know the layout. So the thing about Tails, and the way that they like specifically improved him, is like his flight in past games was always, you know, you could fly up, and then you had to slowly come back down. What they added in this game is now if you hold down while you're flying, you'll actually like descend much faster. And so that makes like actually using his flight feel like much snappier, because, you know, you're not like losing a bunch of speed by deciding to do the thing that the character is known for. So yeah, we'll try him for Act 2. Oh yeah, and this stage freaking rules, by the way. Very, very cool example of, like, an Act 2 sort of taking the theme from Act 1 and turning it on its head. Let's see, I don't think I got the Emerald here yet. No. Oh, thank you, Twilord. As a YouTuber I enjoy sees me as a friend to the point of doing me a huge favor. Owe them one now, but they have put themselves in my trolling zone. What do you mean? I'm not quite sure what the context you're talking about is. These are getting a little tough now. I need to pay attention and not look at the chat during them. Also, there are several points in the game where, like, having analog controls actually matters, and this is one of them. So playing this with a D-pad is a little bit awkward. But I think I'm gonna fail this one. Maybe rings up here. No. Over here. I knew I was gonna do this today, so I actually haven't played Superstars since August. Because I kind of wanted, you know, the first couple of months I was out, I was just playing it, like, pretty much I was playing through it all the way through at least once a week. So I wanted to sort of give myself some distance from it, and I can definitely tell, especially with stuff like that. Alien Run says, Tails can descend now, that's awesome, I haven't played as Tails in years for that reason. Yeah, it's like, Tails was, like, when I was a kid and, like, didn't... That Emerald Power is so cool, by the way. When I was a kid and, like, you know, needed that sort of, like, that crutch for platforming, Tails was so useful. But, like, once I got older and got better at the games, he was so slow that I rarely played as him. But, yeah. Very, very nice. Let me catch up with the chat here a little bit. Happy Halloween! Oh, yeah, that's very appropriate for the month we're in. I remember when Tails Doll was the spooky character of the Sonic universe. None of this Sonic EXE stuff, hell yeah. Oh, I could be playing it on the Saturn 3D pad. I didn't think about that. That's a good idea. What does the title actually mean? Oh, it's just Sonic Superstars is a year old today. It came out 1 year ago today. Assuming that's the title you're talking about, the title of the video. I played Dream Team a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to, just because, you know, it's exclusive to Apple devices. And the only Apple device we have around here is my wife's iPhone. And it's one of those, what are those, like the iPhone SE from 2020, I think. And, I mean, it was cool, but, like, it's a little it's a little underpowered, and, you know, like, I kind of thought about getting, like, an Apple TV, but, like, I would literally just be buying it for one game. So I'm gonna wait and see and hope and pray that they bring it to something else, although I've heard that, like, part of the development cost of the game was subsidized by Apple, so they really might not do that. I was gonna show you that Kangaroo Badnik, because I love that Badnik, and then I accidentally killed him. Oh well, there'll be more. I also love the Seal Badniks in this zone. One thing, just because they're cool in and of themselves, but two, because they roll actual barrels of doom at you. Like, if you look at them the design. They have that, like, red and white stripedy design of the Barrel of Doom. There's Amy in the background. I thought you had to become hyper to do that. How'd you do that? Tails is also very good on this level because you can just you can use flight out of a launcher. Oh, that's another way that they improve Tails here is like there's more situations that it's possible to like go into flight mode out of. But that's not one of them. Just do it like this. Ooh, there's one. Yeah, I love these guys. Oh, I did see somebody earlier, so, sorry I missed this at the time, but they asked, have you ever played Sonic Robo Blast 2? Yeah, you know, I've statistically, I probably played it on stream at some point, but I've played it a whole lot. I actually first played it in, like, Sonic Robo Blast 2, if you don't know, is a fan game built in one of the Doom engines that's been in development since 1999. And I first played it, I first found it and played it in 2002, and just, you know, because it's in, like, the Doom in one of the Doom engines, it comes across as, you know, a 3D polygonal fan game. And, you know, like, fan games in 2002 were sort of just beginning to be able to sort of halfway replicate the 16-bit Sonic design. I think that was actually the same year that the first version of Retro Sonic came out, which is the Christian Whitehead's engine that would go on to power all the, you know, mobile remakes and then eventually Sonic Mania. But yeah, to have like a 3D fan game at that time was just really, really, really mind-blowing. And because it's been in development for so long, it's, you know, very robust, lots of levels. Really, really good game. Merely a fan says, I look forward to Sonic fan games figuring out the ideal 2D gameplay identity for Honey the Cat. Yeah, I would love for her to be in a game. Like Marble Garden Act 2 all over again. Yeah, if you have Amy or Tails on this boss, then, as you can see, you're really gonna have an easy time. See, it looks like Cat has several. Oh yeah, Balan Wonder World. Everybody always gets that one mixed up. I still need to play that game. That'd be a funny stream. If only this game had 7 rings in hand playing non-stop for every stage. Absolutely, I agree. No, I don't think Balan Wonder... See, I've already forgot. It's Balan Wonder World. That's what it is. I never thought it was, like, a bad title by any means. I just... People have a lot of trouble figuring out if it's world or land. You know, here's a really easy way to remember it, though. Super Mario World was a console game. Super Mario Land was a handheld game. It's Balan Wonder World because it came out primarily for consoles. Although I guess it also came out for the Switch, although it runs very, very, very terribly there. But yeah, games that are called World are on consoles. Lands are on handhelds. Is there like a... speckled stage ring around here? I feel like there might be. Ooh, one of my favorite animations in the game is this right here. Like, I remember when this game came out, I would sit here and, like, just go between swimming and flying and just be like, man, that's so cool. This game, like, some of its levels look better than others, but I really, really think it just absolutely knocks it out of the park in terms of, like, character animations and designs. Like, when Superstars is on point, it's, like, one of my favorite looking Sonic games. Sci-Fi Brony says, Josh, why do you stream here and not on Twitch? Would streaming on Twitch have saved the now lost media birthday stream? I don't know. I have no idea how long. Probably, I think, because Twitch is, like, you know, primarily a streaming platform. There is technically a Geek Critique Twitch channel, and I'm always kind of low-key thinking I should do more with it. Because, like, you know, having... not having all of your eggs in one basket is sort of a good thing to have as, like, a media creator. I guess I could just do that too. But really, the reason I always stream here is just because this is where the audience is. This is this is what everybody knows. This is where everybody follows me. Speaking of being where the audience is, now is a good time to say, if you haven't yet, follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at geekcritique.org there, and for fairly obvious reasons, I think. I am one of many people who's like, I really want to use this more. Steven says, you're doing with Tails what I did with DK Tropical Freeze when it first came out. Yeah, just having to stop and look at the details. Ooh, it's time for Amy's stage. What's Ground Brown doing in the impact zone, Taz? That's just for you, Steven. Merely a Fan says, Josh on Twitch would be worth it just for the contrast in what he's playing versus everyone else. Experience the grand horror of Silent Hill. Or watch Geek Critique in the Carnival Zone in Superstars. Giant Fruit Stage. Yeah, I could look up multi-streaming, I just haven't yet. We're gonna go for numbers here. Oh yeah, here's that sealed badnik I was talking up earlier. It fires fire barrels sometimes. But yeah, they actually made the Barrel of Doom a real thing. I feel like in the past couple of years, for whatever reason, I've really gained, like, a greater degree of appreciation for, like, innovative badnik designs. And Superstars has some really, really good ones. I think it might just be because, like, you know, with Mania's new levels and now here in this game, like, we finally got, like, lots of new ones. You know, like, Superstars and Generations had plenty of badniks, but... See, Knuckles likes this one. Ha ha ha, rapes. But, like, yeah, Lost World had lots of badnik designs, Generations had lots of badnik designs, but there's stuff we'd seen before, and, like, that was cool, but... just getting some new stuff is nice. The chat appears to be making penis jokes now, so that's not so... Kalen's not even here, you guys. Noto Oshima being back really did help, yeah. Like, we know that him and Takashi Iizuka together designed Trip. I'm not sure how much he's credited for beyond that, but, like, his influence is very palpable here. Ooh, yeah, Colors had some fantastic ones, too. Good point. I know I said I was gonna try to get, like, like, bash a lot of fruit. I think I've kind of gone on autopilot as I've been talking to the chat. Bashing the fruit is one of those. You see, there's a counter in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there. It's one of those pointless, fun things to do. The only thing it affects is how much fruit is there at the goalpost. Ooh, what happened there? I was like, I'll push this so I can look down at the chat for a minute, and then suddenly I was over here. Ooh, weird. I wonder if a mod's causing that. I've never seen that happen before. There we go. Oh, this stage in particular is very, very... it's very poppy and bright. There's like an exclusive level for each of the 4 playable characters in the game, and this is Amy's. Like, you can only play as this as her. Fruit booty. Yeah. Yet another diabolical trap indeed. Now Amy's spines are like clipping into... Well, now they're not. Oh, yeah, it's only when I'm jumping. It's another thing I've never seen happen. I've got like a character abilities mod on that allows you to use the that like quick spin dash as Knuckles. That's the only thing I can think of that would be causing something like that. That gets me every time. I still... I still get hit there pretty much every time I play this. Yepperdoodle says, you've probably said this already, but I just got here. What mods are you using? Okay, let's see. I'm using sort of a hodgepodge of music mods. Some tracks that I put in there myself. Some that I got from like early mods. I sort of like picked and chose what I liked. Although I'm only replacing a couple of songs. I think I'm doing the options music, the early boss music. Definitely not replacing this song. And, like I said earlier, the ones that are very, like, repetitive and that you hear all the time. Didn't mess with most of the level music, though, because, like, that... the level music, like, even the ones that I didn't like when I first played, it all ended up really growing on me. Which, is kind of what often happens with Sonic games, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh, this song is kind of unfitting, and then I replay the game 14 billion times, and then I like it. Imagine that. And I'm using a mod that makes it so after you get the emerald in a stage, finding another gold ring will make it so like we'll just give you 50 rings like it did in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And then I'm using that character abilities mod, which, there's lots of customization options for it, and the main thing I'm using it for is to, like, make Knuckles glide faster. And give him the thing where, like, you can drop out of a glide and then immediately spin dash. Dude, this is the tricky special stage. You don't want to chase the emerald, you want to try to get above it. Oh, I thought I was going to get that for sure. Like, every time I play this one, I feel like that happens. I'm like, this time I'm going to get it on the first cycle. And then I always just barely miss it. This time. Not this time. We're going to be here for the next 7 hours. Come on. Didn't get... Oh, hey, you know what? That works. I'll take it. Skylian says, how has Alicia been feeling about Metaphor ReFantazio? I mean, she just had fall break, and I think she's at like 40 or 50 hours into it. And she's very mad because she had to do homework today, and all she wants to do is keep playing it even after playing it for that long. So I would say she's very happy with it. Somebody said it'll be interesting to see how your playthrough time compares to your first playthrough. Oh, this is... I'm being very casual about all this, you know. Me and Freezer and a couple of other people in the TGC Discord, when this game came out, we got very, very, very into like competing against each other. We set up like a Google Docs leaderboard and everything to like keep track of our time. So there's some levels that I'm pretty dang good at, but I'm intentionally trying not to, you know, not to play like that this time. And I wouldn't say either of the Lagoon City levels were really my best anyway. I think Freezer actually still has, still's at the top of our leaderboards. On both of these, maybe. Lagoon City Zone, exactly. That's what the Sonic chat is called. Ooh, this is, actually, you know, I was wrong earlier. This is an exclusive portion of a level. If you're playing as Amy, you can see Trip hiding behind the octopus back there. If you're playing as Amy, she'll have the octopus, like, unblock that path down there. I saw somebody ask, do you prefer this or Mania? I mean, I don't think this game is as good as Mania, and I don't think... Like, if I was gonna tell people, like, if you're gonna play one or the other, and especially if you're not, like, a really diehard Sonic fan, go with Mania. You know, play this too, but I would play... If you're only gonna play one or the other, go with Mania. That said, I think this game has, like, it does a lot of things very differently from Mania. I don't think it's really strictly a case of being... You know, it may not be better than, but it is different than. And that's what I really like about it. And also, I think just as a diehard Sonic fan, this game is also quite a bit more difficult than Sonic Mania. It's, I guess it... I remember, like, when I was playing it for the first time and, like, trying to get better at the levels, like, it sort of made me reflect, like, man, Mania was actually really, really, really easy for me. Whereas this, there are lots of sections of this game that really put up a fight. Even for somebody who's been playing this for, you know, functionally my entire life. Tails is a great pick for this boss, by the way. That's another, like, good tip. But mainly because this happens. If you're flying, the water will just push you up. It's another thing about the bosses is that, like, different characters have, like, really, really strong advantages for different bosses. Obviously, Amy's really good too. Really good here too with the double jump. And I only actually played one level as her after asking chat who I should play as. So I'll go ahead and give her another try after this. Remember those emerald powers. Oh, thanks for watching, Corn. Hope you're doing well. Merely a Fan says, Mania vs. Superstars is like Streets of Rage Remake versus Streets of Rage 4. The former is a perfect tribute to the classics, while the latter is forging new paths in that series. Yeah, that's a good comparison, I think. Alien Run says, is the modded boss music a remix of another Sonic song or what? I don't think it's a remix of anything, but I honestly, like I said, the music mod that I use is a hodgepodge of things that I've added and things that, like, I found in other mods. I kind of, like, did a custom mix, and this was definitely not something that I found myself, but I can't remember where I found it. If I had to guess, I feel like there might have been this video that came out when Superstars was first announced, where somebody, like, proposed what they thought the boss music might sound like. So that might be it. But if you want to message me, or, like, tag me on Twitter or Blue Sky or something like that, and I'll make it a point to find it for you. Oh yeah, the Scuba 3D Eggman model, that was great. See, this is one of the levels I played. Oh yeah, I was gonna go play as Amy. You know what? Nah. Forget that. We'll do it again. Somebody says, what do you prefer, Sonic Superstars or Mario Wonder? Well, considering I've finished this game dozens of times and I'm still working, albeit very infrequently, on Mario Wonder, I would have to say I prefer this game. I don't suspect most people would feel that way. Mario Wonder is like... I look at it and I know it's a fantastic video game. But I think the fact that they came out right next to each other, especially, kind of like... It took, you know, like that. There was that hype period for Mario Wonder where it's brand new and everybody's talking about it, and like, I literally did not have any time to play it while that was going on because I could not stop playing this. I always joke, like, man, it was really a mistake for Nintendo to release Mario Wonder right next to a new Sonic game like that. That's just really bad form on their part because, like, it's just gonna get completely overshadowed. And it did, but only for me. Now we're back to where we were with Tails. Oh, I want that, can I get up there? Let's see. There we go. Freezer says, I still haven't bought Wonder. It was no Wonder World. Yeah, I've noticed, the reason I said earlier that I need to play Balan Wonder World is because I've noticed this, like, very consistent thing where almost everybody, of course, you know, absolutely despised Balan Wonder World. They thought it was just this terrible, terrible failure of a game. The exception, and this is very consistent, this is, like, across a couple of people that I know who, as far as I know, do not know each other. But, like, the really die-hard Sega fans... They tended to walk away being like, well, that was actually really good. This game is just really misunderstood. So, based on that, and Freezer is one of those people, based on that, I will more than likely have a similar reaction to it. And I do own it. I found it, like, on clearance for, like, $10, and I was like, well, now's a good time. Oh, thank you, Francis. Hi all, why are these red and yellow transport beams in a desert? I use Superstar Delusions for the Act 2 boss music. Yeah, there's also... I think for the Fang music back in Act Sonic, I use this, like, music that's normally in a cutscene and it only plays for like 10 seconds, but is quite good. I think that's what I use. You have to say Wonder World in a Scottish accent like Shay-May. Oh yeah, Shay-May was one of those people. He had a really good video about it. Anyway, there are red and yellow zip lines in a desert because McDonald's was here. McDonald's is the reason that we have Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so that was done as a tribute to them. Balan Wonderworld looks like a game with a lot of charm and good art design, but with a very unconventional game design. Yeah, I played, like, I don't... This was several years ago now, and also it was just the demo, but I played the demo, and that... that's a pretty good read of it from what I remember. Also, from what I remember from the demo, if you have the choice and you're interested in Balan, it's one of those games you really don't want to play on Switch. Although I think Freezer did and she loved it, so... Your mileage may vary even there. Nah, the zone with Act Amy was the last zone. This is, however, the zone with one of the very few bosses that does still bug me in this game. No amount of replaying, no amount of skill will make this happen any faster. Floor panels. The boss. And with a couple of these bosses like this one, I don't even think it would be that big of a deal. Like, it wouldn't, like, this is fine. It's very, you know, it's kind of creative. It gives you stuff to dodge. It has different phases. I think the problem, the major problem with this one is just how many times you still have to hit him. Like, I think if they sort of took a, I've been hoping for like a mod that would, you know, let you set, independently set how many hits it takes to defeat each boss, because this is one where, like, if it was 4 hits, and I think, like, the Act 1 bosses, the like, animal bosses, they tend to take 4 hits, while Eggman, I believe, takes 7 or 8. I don't know, I never count. But I think that's one reason that, like, the Act 1 bosses never get to be a bother, because, you know, a lot of them do have, like, different phases, do go, you know, have, like, lengthy invulnerability periods, but because you only hit them 4 times, like, they don't overstay their welcome. Thank you, Francis, who says, wrong boss music, better than OG still. Yeah, this is one of the ones that I modded for sure. If I was gonna mod no other song in the game, I would mod early boss. And then eventually he gets into this part of the cycle where, like, before he was popping up out of the sand and then, like, you could hit him. And now he's not doing that anymore. So it's like, I'm pretty sure that like, actually no, I'm positive that if I try to get through this level as fast as possible, the boss takes me longer than the level. Like, you're just pretty much guaranteed to spend, I think it's like 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes on it. Good length of time in any case. Not saying all the Superstars bosses are great, but most of them are not like that. Merely a fan says, certain Superstars bosses do have the DKC Tropical Freeze problem where they feel like they last a few too many hits long, yeah. Invisible Sun says, I had no idea you had to bump the Blue Badnik's back. Really? Can you, how do you defeat him then? Because eventually, like I said, he starts popping up. This level is like a litmus test for whether or not somebody likes Sonic Superstars. By the way. Everybody who loves this game thinks this is one of the most badass levels on the planet. I've seen this level be described as, like, one of the worst levels in Sonic history, and one of the best. You won't be surprised to learn that I think it's fantastic. But first, special stage. I think this is number 6. This is the point where they start getting actually challenge. Like, the last special stage 5 is tricky. And I don't mean the dinosaur from off Dinosaur Planet. Or Diddy Kong Racing. I saw somebody in the chat make that reference earlier. The cat is down here licking the wire that my Chromebook is plugged into, so that's about where we're at. Merely a fan says, outtime, daytime factory levels are still a relative rarity for Sonic, so I like it for aesthetics alone. Oh yeah, you know, I never use these powers, so I forgot that in Superstars, Amy... that's her final Emerald ability, is to throw hammers. She doesn't have to go hyper. Amy now has superpowers. Oh, it was Opal. So, you know those, like... the kind of wires that have, like, that white kind of squishy filling around them? She really likes, like, biting and chewing and licking them. And she's always done that. Daisy never messes with them. Yet another good place to have Amy. Yeah, I feel like all of the levels in Superstars that, like, have an Act 2 do a really, really, really good job, like, differentiating Act 1 from Act 2. And, you know, this level having such a specific gimmick in the first place, which is the literal press factory back there. Which is always visible in the background and, like, hammers down every few seconds. And then Act 2 goes with something completely different. Ooh, and the Act 2 boss in this one is absolutely fantastic. One of the best. It might be my favorite boss in the game, actually. Francis says, Press Garden versus Press Factory. Josh, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Honestly, I would have to go with Press Factory. I know a lot of people really, really, really love Press Garden and Mania. It never, like, became one of my absolute favorites. Whereas this is one of my favorite levels in Superstars. So yeah, I'd go with Press Factory. Cat update. The cat has now gotten on the back of my office chair, and when she jumped up there, she dug her claws into my shoulder in a very loving manner. If I keep streaming in the office, maybe I'll like actually get a webcam. I don't think, in all the years I've been doing this, I don't think I've ever streamed with a webcam. That said, on the subject of Press Garden's a fine name for a stage, but I preferred in the files that level was originally called Pulp Solstice Zone, and that is a much cooler name. I think they might have changed it because like the aesthetic for Act 1 was like completely reworked. I think it feels like I heard that somewhere. This boss does have the same problem, sort of the same problem as the one in Sand Sanctuary, but I don't hate it nearly as bad because, like I said, you only have to hit the Act 1 bosses 4 times. And as you can see there, especially if you have Amy, it never even makes it. Like if you time those double jumps right, you can prevent it from like ever really getting into like the second phase of its attack. Superimpose yourself with a green screen so that you're in Sonic's world. Well, that's what I'll be doing in the Sonic and Knuckles video. Yeah, see, I don't care about, and I don't think you guys care about seeing me, but I want you to see my cat. And this level is also a very good example of something I also noticed with Mania, which is that, like I said, Sonic Mania was a very, like, it was a fantastic game, but it was very, very, very easy for me. And this level, too, like, people, like, get walled by this level. So what happens here is you see that flying drone thing in the background there with that meter filling up. When that meter completely fills up, the level explodes and, like, kills you. And that has happened to me before. But the first time I played this, like I said, the stream, the VOD from a year ago is still on the channel. The first time I played this level, that meter never filled up. Like, I always hit the buttons too fast, and so I got through the level never even knowing what happens. So, like, there often has to sort of be this like, adjustment when I read, you know, reviews or critical impressions or things like that other people have about Sonic games, because, like, I've played these games way too much, and my experience isn't... Like, I would never, ever, 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 ever review a Sonic game for, like, a mainstream publication, for, like, a guide that's, you know, like, the point of, like, an IGN review is to inform people who are on the fence, like, what sort of experience they might have with a game they're thinking about getting. They're not really meant for fans, and I can really feel that with Sonic. If I was ever asked to review a Sonic game in a situation like that, the most moral thing for me to do would be to recuse myself. I swear I'm good at Sonic games, you guys. That totally didn't happen. If somebody says the Crushers are in cheap places, here's a tip. Use water. Wow, it didn't work. Okay, now I'm confused. Did they patch that? I thought I was gonna do something really cool. Oh, no, the spiky ones, it doesn't work on the spiky ones. That's right. I hope somebody clips that. I was so smug about it, too. I was like, oh, just you wait. Yeah, I'll have to find one of the flat crushers. Then it works, right? God, I'm gonna be very embarrassed if it doesn't. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that, too. Doesn't work on the spiky ones. Not gonna try it there. I do feel like using the fireball power should really protect you from things like that. Oh, that's not good. See, now that I did that, I've activated, like, Misfortune. Oh, yeah. And now I'm gonna be here for hours. Too late. Just barely too late. I like Darkwing Spartan, how we are canonically calling it Elon Musk's X now. Now that one's flat on top, but I don't think I could use it to crush myself. See, if I hadn't gone for that, I'd be fine. But now that I did, like, bad luck. Bad luck abounds. Hey, at least I hit that. That's no big loss. Ooh, somebody says it does work on the spiky ones, but only one specific one. That's weird. Okay, this one has spikes on top. I don't think it'll work, but I'll give it a try anyway. We're experimenting. Oh, no, it does work. That's what I wanted to do. So it works on... If the Crusher is going into spikes, then it works. If the Crusher itself is spiky, then it probably doesn't. Don't hire me for the Sega Tips hotline, I guess. Now you have to delete the file. Ooh, Elon Musk from off of X. That's a good way of calling it. It's for spikes and not crushers. I don't know. Alien Run says, how do you feel about the Fire Emerald power basically letting you skip most of every level? Well, I mean, you can't really use it to skip most of every level because, like, it's a temporary thing, right? Like, I used it earlier, and now I can't reactivate it until I pass a star post. Or I guess these are lamp posts. I call them star posts. You know, this one has both a star and a lamp, so you can use either term. But, anyway, that's, like, I actually really, really like the way that Emerald powers are implemented in that, like, they're never mandatory, they're always optional, but the game, like, gives you, like, a little pop-up in the lower left-hand corner to, like, notify you, hey, this might be a good place to use an Emerald power. But, it's always your choice to do it, and you can activate them, like, outside of those circumstances, too. I feel like that made it, like, a really interesting addition to Sonic gameplay without, like, becoming, like, the whole point of it. Or, like, taking the focus too much off of, like, you know, the the core gameplay. But, like I said, I do think they could have done more to, like I said, like, when you're using the fire power, you should be impervious to, like, fire hazards. That would be really, really cool. And like I said, there are some instances in the game where that works and that happens. But I've you know, it's not hard to find more of them. Also, yeah, I said earlier, that's one of the boss I just fought is one of my favorites in the game. And, you know, a lot of it is because while it does have invulnerability frames, you can kind of, like, do those. It strikes a really good balance, I guess, between, like, being a Superstar style boss where it has different sections and different phases and stuff, while still giving you plenty of opportunity to, like, take risks and whack it. And let's see. I need... After I finish Act Knuckles, we'll go build a robot. Oh, and the other thing about Emerald Powers, as you've seen numerous times throughout this playthrough, is, like, if you have one activated and then you get hit, like, you lose it. You'll lose it right there. So, like, using them is this, you know, it's quite a boon if you decide to use, like, I mean, not all of them. Some of them are very situational. Like, this one just reveals invisible platforms, and so it has to sort of rely on sections that have them. Like, I don't think there's a situation where it's really worth it to use this, except in its designated sections. At least not that I know of. I could be wrong. But then, like, the plant one is very good. The plant one is also, like, the fireball one is very good for, like, climbing up obstacles or, like gaining elevation. I feel like the plant one is sort of the equivalent of that for if you're playing in co-op. Because as you go up, like, it spawns platforms that the other players can climb up. But I normally only use that one if, like, I need to, like, climb up somewhere and I've already used Fireball. Icy says if they remix a stage from Superstars, it absolutely has to be this one. Yeah, I love, like, the kind of approach to, like, video game lore that I prefer is, like, when the game is kind of, like, hands-off about it. It just sort of presents something and then lets you think about it. It doesn't, like, tell you, hey, here's exactly what this means. Like, I really love, like, the concepts of, like, headcanon and, like, sort of, like, speculating on what things mean. And this level in particular, it's a Golden Capital Zone. Like, it's really fun to, like, look at the backgrounds and look at the design of it and look at the loop design especially, which I'll try to remember to show that off in Act 2. And just be like, okay, so is this like some sort of an ancient city where, like, the rings of Sonic's world originated? That's kind of how it strikes me. And like I said, that's a lot more fun for me to think about than, you know... if the game just came right out and said, yes, that is what this means. Kind of just showing it to me and then leaving it up to interpretation. Or I guess, I imagine if this game had come out like for the Saturn or the Genesis or something, there would be like one line about it in the instruction manual. And then you can just extrapolate from there. Yeah, environmental storytelling. It's one of the things that Metroid does extremely, extremely well too. Amy's really, really, really good for most bosses, and this is definitely one of them. Also, you saw at the beginning of the fight there, it, like, inhales all of your ring energy. But when you defeat it, it gives you back, like, double the amount of rings that you had. So you can actually, like, break the score display on this level if, like, you come in with a ton of rings and then get them all back. Definitely didn't do that this time, but, like, the score display will, like, extend off of the screen here. Alright, after this level, if I remember, that's when we're gonna go build a robot. Not sure how many, Opal knocked something over. Not sure how many medals I have. I'm not sure how good of a robot we're going to build. If nothing else, I could build... I think it was a pre-order bonus. The like, Mecha Sonic robot from the Death Egg Zone in Sonic 2. That was like a pre-order bonus skin you can have. Also, it's so cool how every character has, like, a level. Like, not only are like the individual levels that everybody can play, like, very well balanced for different play styles and for different abilities, but, like, everybody gets a level that's, like, built just around them. Steven says, I'm back. I'm surprised the game is still going. Well, I've only been playing this one for a year so far. Like, give me time. Also, this game is just, you know, quite a bit longer than, I'd say, any of the Genesis games except for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which was sort of kind of 2 games in one. Like, I don't know if that's true in terms of, like, pure stage count, but in terms of, like, the length of the levels and the number of acts you have and stuff like that. Okay. I was like, I'm not going backwards, am I? Kinda Dumb says, stop making me want to replay this game. I have way too much in my backlog right now. Well, see, that's the great thing about this is, like, now you don't have to replay it. You can just, you can replay it vicariously through me. I don't think that's as good, but, you know, maybe it'll help. Poe says, I remember when you beat this game during a conversation recording and Heil couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, I'm always... he's never, like, criticized it or anything, but I always worry, like, I'm making extra work for Heil because, like, does he have to edit around, like, you know, the sound of me, like, tapping controller buttons? I'm always, like, playing games whenever I'm on the conversation. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm a fairly regular co-host on the Donkey Kong podcast, The Kongversation. It's K-O-N-G Versation. But yeah, I remember one time we were on, and I like played Donkey Kong Country 2 start to finish, and like he has context for that one. He knows how long that game is, and he was just like, "What the fuck, Josh?" Merely a Fan says Josh could play this game 10 or 15 times in a row, or the average amount of time for a Persona 5 playthrough. Conversace, got it. Yeah, that's it. One of those murals we love so much. More environmental storytelling. Yeah, I've seen some people criticize the story of this game and be like, it doesn't explain enough. It needs to be... And I'm like, no, it explains exactly the right amount. Like, speaking of the conversation, one thing, like, it would be really fun, I think, to, like, be on a podcast series analyzing this game, like, level by level, and, like, really, really, really digging in deep on all that stuff. Like I said, I enjoy the speculation. Oh yeah, the Generations if you like Sonic but not Donkey Kong so much, then yeah, the Generations episode of the conversation was one that I was on that would probably be to your interest. We also did, this was quite a long time ago now, but we did one when Mania came out. Heil bizarrely, like, let me come on and talk about Sonic on the Donkey Kong podcast. Oh yeah, actually, a while back, I forgot I did this until just now, but I set up a playlist on my channel that compiles, like, just all the times that I've been on the conversation. So, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. Ooh, this is the loop I was talking about. This loop is a... Oh, well, Cat jumped back up here again. Like, there's, like, concept art for Sonic 1 that Noto Oshima drew in, like, 1990 that I think came out maybe in Sonic Jam or something. Can't remember how we first got it. But, like, this is that loop. And in the first Sonic movie, if you look at, like, the map, I think Sonic has, like, it's been a long time since I watched it, but I think Sonic has, like, a map of the different dimensions, and it also uses the design of this loop. So it's very cool to, like, finally see it in official media. If Kalen were here, I would say it's like everything has come full circle, and then he would get mad at me for saying that, and that would be great. But he's not here, so... Maybe Steven will get mad at me. Steven used to be on the channel back in the Let's Play days. Kinda dumb says Josh. Oh, I should not be reading the chat while while not looking through the screen. Josh, I will pay so much to have you on a podcast more. You're such an eloquent speaker. Okay, I feel like it's very self-serving for me to read this, but thank you. Sky Chase Zone's Revenge. I still need to read the Fang the Hunter comic series. Or wait, did I read that one? The one that came out this year was Knuckles, right? I haven't read the most recent one. I think I did read the Fang one, but maybe I didn't. I can't seem to find it. Like, okay. I know the Amy one, I know the Sonic one, I know the Tails one, because that's the one that has, like, Witch Cart. Yeah. Is the Knuckles one out yet, by the way? Probably came out in February. Been a weird year. Steven, we're gonna finish Super Mario World one day. maybe for its 10th anniversary. But boy, if you want bosses that just go on and on and on and on, look no further. We're not even to it yet, and I'm already. I already know. Here we go. Oh, and it's even worse because, like, if you don't have a mod, it plays Early Boss 1, which is the really, really repetitive boss song. Yeah, this is my pick for the worst boss in the game. Because, like, it goes on forever. It's hard enough that it can't just kind of be a mindless thing you sort of passively do. Like, it might do it this time, actually. No, I'll get rings, I'll be fine. It still kills me sometimes, though. And there's just no way at all to do it any faster. Like, when people say that Sonic Superstars has awful bosses, I think that like, at least half the reason that like sentiment catches on so much is because people remember this one, and fairly so, honestly. Making the music better does help. People are saying Fang Mark II is worse. That's one of the final bosses. And see, I love the final bosses because, like, yeah, they also, like, take a very long time. But, like, I don't know. This one, it's like, it's hard enough that I have to pay attention, but it's not so hard that it doesn't feel like a chore, I guess is the thing. Like, when I fight the final bosses, like, there's still tension to it. It feels like I really have to focus in and, like, you know, like, it feels like a battle, I guess is what I'm saying. Whereas this one, it's like, I'm just kind of waiting around, dodging lava. It's far from the worst boss I've ever played in any game. And I could probably think of worse bosses in Sonic games. Could definitely think of worse bosses in Sonic games. But in terms of this game, like I said, especially with the unmodified music. If you haven't heard it, look up Sonic Superstars early boss theme, and just imagine that playing over and over and over again for like 4 minutes. Like, I remember, I believe I actually liked this boss more when I first played it because, you know, there was that tension there at least. Oh, come on. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. When he goes off screen there, you kind of want to kite him to come on toward the top here. That'll make things easier. And yeah, like I said, it's just gotten to the point where, like, it's hard, but not hard enough. And in any case, it still goes on and on and on and on. Like, I feel like there's the standard for what a final boss can get away with to me is like a lot higher. Final bosses can be cheap. Final bosses can be really, really, really punishing. Final bosses can, and I would say even in terms of my preferences, almost should be a little bit unfair. Or maybe even a lot unfair. Like, I don't mind that when it comes to final bosses. But, what a bastard. But when it comes to, like, you know, just a standard level boss, that was kind of a lot. This is going to be really weird for people with no context. Ah, yes, it's robot building time. Thank you. Weirdly, Fang's boss theme does not play here. Like, it sure would make sense if it did. Kinda Dumb says your final boss preference is just any arcade fighting game. Absolutely. Great comparison. Whenever I play something like, I remember Street Fighter 4 and then the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Yeah, I really... like, what you do is you climb the arcade ladder, you get to the absolute bullshit final boss, and then you just throw characters at it over and over and over again until you get it. But yeah, is robot building time. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, you guys heard that. Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. Let's see, I have 92. Okay, should I try to build, like, a cool robot or a dumb robot? Mostly all I've ever done here is just copy, you know, Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, Metal Amy. I've never really tried to... Okay, it's like October. Let's go with, like, the pumpkin head. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford color options. Okay, those aren't too expensive, but you have to use them per part, don't you? So yeah, I might not be able to get everything. We'll go with, Robotic Bear. ARMS, everyone's favorite Nintendo Switch game. The answer is always Metal. I don't want to just build Metal Sonic though. That's, like I said, that's mostly all I've ever done here. Okay. You gotta go customize. Yeah, that looks fantastic. And we need some color. Obviously, well, I was gonna say the head should be orange, but we don't have orange paint yet. The head should be green then. And I'll tell you what, we'll just get... Nope. Out of metals. Alright. At least we can do something. I said I was going to make the head green. Go with, what is this, the body? Go with red for that. Yeah. And that's barely any color, so let's do the feet for the last color. Yeah, that looks really, really cool. And intimidating. That's what Eggman's been working on. And barely played Sonic in this game, so let's do that. I do have a Blue Sky. My Blue Sky is at geekcritique.org. Blue Sky has this feature where if you own a domain, you can actually make that your handle. You can also find Alicia on Blue Sky. She is... I believe she's birdwoman.geekcritique.org. But she rarely uses it. She was telling me earlier she wants to use it more, though. Oh, the chat is saying I should give it a name. I'm bad at coming up with names, so what do you guys think we should call it? Cool and Stupid. That's a good name. Stacey Williams says, "Hey Josh, hope you're doing well. I saw your Donkey Kong Country vids, and now I'm playing them again myself. It's crazy how nothing has come close to the soul those games have." Oh, the Donkey Kong Country series is very, very unique. I'm kind of due for a replay of them myself, and maybe I'll do that like come January, since the Returns re-release is coming out. Sci-Fi Brony says, "No offense, Josh, but where is your wife? She adds a fun energy to these streams." Oh, no offense taken. I know it's it's always better when you can stream with somebody to like bounce off of. She is downstairs doing homework. She's she's a college student. Which is also why why I decided to do this stream in the office today. Although another reason, and you guys are not getting the benefit of this, is that this game runs at I have a high refresh rate monitor, 144 hertz. So normally, I play this game on the TV downstairs, which is only 60 hertz. But like I said, I don't think the stream is going to be reflective of that. What old people thought the internet was in 1993 zone. Steven says, "I love this level's art." Wow, yeah, this level is one of the... it's one of the most creative for sure. A lot of people's favorites in this game. It's extremely stereotypical for me, but my favorite level in this game is, of course, Pinball Carnival. If you put a carnival level in a game, it's probably in a Sonic game, it'll almost certainly be my favorite. Oh yeah, I didn't actually mention the music. I didn't think about it again, and I didn't see the chat talk about it again. And it's just I've been using this song as the music for this level for so long that I don't even think about it anymore. But this is one of the ones I modded myself because I love this song. It's this song, if you don't know, is from Deltarune. And whenever I played this level, I just kept thinking of this song, and I was like, I wonder if it would fit. And definitely think it does. Well, carnival levels, casino levels, colorful theme park levels, basically. Which is also one reason I think Sonic Colors has one of the best aesthetics in the whole series. The thematic cohesion with its zones, and the fact that they're still so they almost all follow this centralized theme of a carnival in space, but they're all so distinct among each other. In terms of level archetypes, I think Colors is one of the strongest games in the series. Icy says, "But Josh, what's your least favorite?" My least favorite is probably Speed Jungle Act 2. I think there's something there. Me and one of my friends have talked about this. She's she loves that level. And she's actually, I talked earlier about how me and some people on the Geek Critique Discord were having racing in different levels and keeping track of them on a leaderboard. By far, she is so far ahead of the rest of us on that level because she actually likes it. And whenever I get into it, I'm like, there's something here. I could figure out how to love this. It's just, that's the one, that's the level where you keep going into these dark areas and there's a spotlight on you. And a pixel from off of Super Paper Mario is lighting the way for you. And I don't hate it or anything. I don't resent playing it. It's just if I had to pick a least favorite level in Superstars, that would be it. Yeah, in terms of cool aesthetics in this game, I think this is one of the best. I think I had this background as like my channel art last year, if I remember right. And then like I switched it to like the modern version of Casino Night Zone right now, because it's the 10th anniversary. And my original channel art used Casino Night Zone, so that seemed appropriate. The 16-bit Casino Night Zone was what I had back in 2013, so that seemed appropriate. The thing that's really dangerous here is, like, you might be noticing I'm like trying to jump, and like I try to never walk on like these parts of the floor because like there's always a chance he's gonna fire a laser beam right there. I remember when I first played that boss, like somebody started yelling at me in the chat that it took them 45 minutes of trying to beat it. Kinda Dumb says, once I find a new job, my first expense will be joining the Geek Critique Discord. Oh, we'll be very happy to have you. It's a fantastic place where you can find out what happens in Season 3 of Better Call Saul, among other things. Okay, you gotta, like, watch out for this one, because you'll only play either Act 1 or Act Tails if you don't go back to the world map. So, somebody help me remember, after I clear Act 1, to go back to the world map and play Act Tails. Steven saying he wants to own this game now. Dude, if you want to... I remember I showed you and Lynn in this game like when it first came out. I don't think I showed you that level though. But if you want to come over and like play 2-player mode, now like multiplayer mode, co-op mode in this game can be like a bit of a I don't know, a kerfluffle. I played it with Kaylin and we had a great time, but like we both really know what we're doing in Sonic games. But I can promise you it would be a very funny time. This, I happen to know, is Freezer's favorite level in the game. Very appropriate, given her name. I found Frozen Base. I saw somebody say that. Oh man. I saw somebody say that they think this might be their least favorite level in the game. Like, I absolutely love two level archetypes that originate. My love for them originates with Sonic games, and probably more specifically Sonic 3. I love like carnival/casino aesthetics, and I love snow levels. And I'm gonna die in that pit over and over again until I finish making this point. So, like, when I first got here, you know, I was really excited about it. I was like, oh, shit, there's a nice level in this game. I'm so happy. And then I played it, and when I first played it, like, it's one of those cases where it kind of took a while to grow on me. Because when I first played it, I was kind of like, well, it's sort of a snow/factory level. It combines, you know, the archetype of, like, an Eggman base level with, like, probably didn't want to jump over that lamppost, but I'll probably be okay. So yeah, the point is, when I first played it, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm really vibing with this level design as much as I hoped I would. And then, you know, I played it over and over and over again and raced Freezer in it. And primarily, I found out about that higher path that sort of gets you away from most of like the conveyor belt nonsense. Like, I figured out how to navigate it. And that high path, like, being so, like, kind of getting out of Eggman's base and getting up to the top of the mountain. Like I said, it grew on me. This is another boss that gives me trouble sometimes, though. especially in the bonus game, which I'm trying not to spoil as if as if anybody cares at this point. Mama Luigi, given your name, you're asking a very appropriate question. Wondering if you would ever make a video on the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon and how it's underrated. I've always thought it was better than the darker Sonic cartoons. Oh, I would love to make... see, if I was going to do that, then I would really just want to do like a whole retrospective season on a couple of different Sonic cartoons, and that would definitely be one of them. Now this level is great because it's just an incredibly faithful tribute to a classic Sega arcade game called Fantasy Zone. And I knew about that a year ago. I was excited about that when I first played it a year ago. What I didn't know back then was that they actually got... His name slips my mind right now, unfortunately, but this game, as a lot of people know, had a very big list of composers. And they got the original, like the original composer for Fantasy Zone is the person who composed the song for this level. By the way, the next zone is the final one. Who do we want to beat the game with, chat? Thank you to Ken for telling me the very fast way to beat this boss. Which is to just keep using Mercy Invincibility and catching one ring. Me and Ken were competing on those leaderboards for a while. Same deal with this when you just want to take a hit and then get in there. Is he reading chat? Well, now I am. Oh, Play Act Tales, thank you. The next zone is not the final. The next zone is Frozen Base Act Tales. Thank you, chat. I knew I'd forget. Charcoal says, I'm the one person who was excited to see a classic-styled Sega shoot-'em-up as the final boss in Sonic Frontiers. You're not the only one. I actually prefer I'm probably the only person who prefers the original final boss of Frontiers to the one that's in the DLC. That's how bad I've got it. Okay, Act Tales. By the way, this is one of those levels that has... If you decide to go up at the beginning instead, you'll find a completely different path. If you, try to use the plant. There we go. I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna make it, am I? Oh, somebody says I actually agree with you. I assume you're talking about the Frontier's final boss. That's nice. It's always... I mean, you know... Sonic opinions are always an extremely versatile thing. There are statistically probably tons of people who agree with me. But it's always nice to know you're not alone. It's very dangerous to try to look at chat here. Oh yeah, I'm not saying the DLC final boss is like bad or anything. It's just I'm really glad that we did get the one that we got in the original game. Because that one, like, really kind of resonated with me in a very particular and personal way, and I promise I will remember to talk about that in, like, 15 years when I make a retrospective on Sonic Frontiers. When the Sonic Retrospective series actually reaches that point. And we can look back on it as a product of its time. Somebody says, this act was hell for me. Yeah, you've really got to be careful with the Crutchers in this one. Although, let's see if water works. Yeah! That's a good insurance policy, if you're struggling with it. Or I guess if there's a particular section you're struggling with, because, like, now I don't have it anymore. The other thing about the Crutchers is just, like, the safe spots are always designated by rings, so that helps too. Oh, I love those little badniks. That was adorable. Sonic Forces will go through 5 or 6 periods of backlash/redemption by the time Josh does his Forces retrospective. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Or you could just review Ikaruga. That'd work too. Okay, now we're doing the last level. Who should I play as for the last level? I accidentally replayed Actails. That's fine. Skylian says, what is the next video? The next video is Sonic and Knuckles. It was supposed to come out in August, and then I just kept writing the script, and writing the script, and writing the script. By the way, while I wait to see who the cat wants me to play as, I will show everybody gets their own... A cool detail is that everybody gets their own Eggomatic here. And it's based on the first game that they appeared in. Like, that's the one from Sonic 1. That's the one from Sonic 2. That's Sonic CDs. That's Sonic 3. Let's see, we got a Knuckles, a Sonic, a Tails. I guess I could just try this. There we go. Oh yeah, we could use Supersonic, I guess, if I want to be a cheater. Trip's Eggmobile is this purple thing. Can't show it right now. Okay, it looks like we're going with Sonic. Tim Rogers might have called Trip's Eggmobile a chunky purple freak wagon. By the way, you can tell, you're right, it's called the Eggmobile. You can tell that I'm a Western Sonic fan from off of the 1990s because I defaulted to calling it the Eggomatic. That's always what my brain thinks of first. Robotnik and his Eggomatic. I remember when I was first playing this game, like, all of those sections that I was just going through where like the platforms are like springing up in front of you. They'll do this. They'll like have these parts that you're clearly meant to like run into. Like if you're moving at high speed, you're meant to run into them and like stop. But I kept like anticipating them like too well and jumping over the things that were meant to stop me and like flinging myself into the death pit. They tried to make it easy for me, and it only backfired. Also, I really, really didn't like these sections a year ago, because I was just like, this is so slow. Why is this so... But it turns out you can fling yourself off of the walls. And that makes them faster. Also, I really don't think it actually works, but I've heard that like you can curl up whenever you want to. I've heard that if you time it right, you can like jump through the laser beams. And like I said, I always try it, and it never... I don't think that's actually true, but that would be cool. I'd say Sonic is the second most challenging way to play this level. Knuckles is definitely the hardest. Just for the fact that when you play as Knuckles, like, gliding is pretty much a death sentence against the final boss, especially in its second phase. Somebody says, yeah, like this. I would run into... I would like jump over this and go careening into the death pit. Like every time I came to one of these rooms. Fortunately, they're also very good about placing check marks before it, so it wasn't too bad. This is kind of another level that took some time to grow on me. The difference being that like I played Act 1 and I was like, man, this is like... What are they going for here? This is this is kind of slow. I still don't really care for how many of these like rotating elevator sections are in this level, just because like, you know, it's sort of like an interactive cutscene. There's no way to speed it up. There's no way to make it go any faster. At least it gives you something to do by dodging fire columns, unlike flying battery zones elevators. But yeah, so I played Act 1 like a year ago. And the whole time I was kind of thinking, like, I don't know, this one's I'm gonna have to like replay this. I don't know how much I like this. And then I got to Act 2, and then it all clicked into place. And then it made sense. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will. Yeah, it is very nice that you can't time out during the final boss. I don't think this game has timeouts at all. I know it doesn't have actually, no, there's no way it possibly can, because it doesn't have lives. So if you could time out, that would be that would be really, really bad. Aw, man, thought I was gonna get that ring. Freezer says, "Are you doing Trip Story today?" For one thing, spoilers. But nah, I'm not gonna do Trip Story. I actually just, a few days ago... Now, I said, you know, I didn't play this game since August, and that's true. But I was, like... I was really jonesing for it, so I decided to allow myself to replay Trip Story. And I actually just finished that the other day. Trip Story, I mean, it's not... It's not the kind of thing that I want to replay all the time, but, like, every once in a while. It's a really good time. Trip Story, you unlock it after... I guess I'm just going to spoil it now. So, oh, hey, that was lucky. You unlock Trip as a playable character once you finish the game, and along with that, you unlock something called Trip Story, which is, like... You know how in Sonic and Knuckles, playing as Knuckles was, like, hard mode? In this game, playing as Trip is, like, super hard mode. Like, every level is substantial. Like, it's layout, the layout, the enemy placement... a lot of the bosses even are reworked to be like much more challenging, and it works well because like Trip is like a bit of an overpowered character anyway, and you know, likely by the time you unlock that, you're gonna have all the emeralds, so you still have them when you play as her. But when I first played through Trip Story, I was like trying to hurry because some of my friends, including Freezer and Kay, had already made it like and fought the final boss and everything, and I really wanted to see what that was. So you can cheese Trip Story by playing through it in super mode. So I mostly did that. But this time I did not allow myself to use Super Trip at all, and just played through it 100% legit. And yeah, it's a mountain to climb. To go full Metal Gear, Trips mode is not just hard mode; it's European extreme hard mode. Bobble says, honestly, I found the dragon guy to be harder than Fang's giant robot. The dragon is kind of unfair, to be honest with you. I know I said earlier that the Fang boss in Golden Capital was my least favorite boss in the game, but I kind of don't even think of the dragon as being in contention for that, and I might like that less. But I'm not going to get to that today anyway. By the way, one of the details I really enjoy about this is that, like, there's this graffiti in hidden places throughout all the levels that shows, like, Eggman beating up Sonic. This is probably obvious if you've thought about it for more than 2 seconds, but do we know who that's supposed to have been drawn by? Like, I mean, logically, you'd think it was Eggman that came through and did that. But yeah, Act 2 is Act 1 again, but backwards. And, like time itself is running backwards. The counter, or the timer itself is running down. And, like, it keeps track of, like, the rings that you got the first time through. I'm gonna die, yep. It keeps track of the rings you got the first time through, and the badniks you defeated, and, like, you can see them, like, come back together. I saw somebody say that this level, unfortunately, does tend to chug on the Switch version, and yep, that's where I was playing Trip Story, actually. I completed the Switch version. I feel like I keep getting really unlucky with those placements. There we go. Ah, checkpoint was right there. Okay, can I... How many dead hedgehogs? I've lost count. I don't know. Let's, I'm gonna try going a different way if I can. Just to play something different. Also, a year ago, I remember I got lost for, like, a ridiculously embarrassing amount of time on this level. Yeah, no, I think I have to go through here. If I can get a medal up here, that's useful. Well, I'll tell you what I will do once I'm done with this. If anybody has this game on Steam, oh man, I will play a few rounds of battle mode. It's always been almost impossible to play battle mode because I think that everybody, including me, tried battle mode like 1 or 2 times. That's like the online mode. And you play it once, and you find out that, like, nobody, no other real humans are playing it hardly ever. Okay, feeling luckier this time. See that? Nope, I definitely want to hit that. Not gonna take that risk. Somebody says I only have it on Xbox, unfortunately. My condolences there. I have it on Xbox too, and, like, it's not at all unplayable, but for whatever reason, the Xbox version has worse input lag than all the other versions. Like, it's the kind of thing that I can get used to, and I think most people can get used to it, but it is very noticeable, like going from any other version to the Xbox version. Federation Force players look at Sonic Superstars battle mode and pity the low numbers in the ladder. Yeah, that's gonna be a real challenge whenever I actually, like, get around to critiquing Federation Force, is that, like, it's a co-op game. And I've heard from a lot of friends of mine and a lot of people who've played it, and a lot of, let's be honest, most of the people who played Federation Force, oh man, are other YouTubers who cover, you know, Metroid games. I think that's the primary reason that anybody plays it. But I think that it's, I've heard that it's a lot better if you actually play it as intended in co-op mode. So I'm gonna have to find a way to make that work. Like, it has online co-op, right? So, like, that's viable, I guess. I don't know. Did Nintendo shut down all the 3DS online services? Might have to corral, like, real-life friends or something. I saw somebody ask, will you ever critique Metroid Prime Hunters? Yeah, so the plan, hypothetically, you know when I did Dread last year, I did, like, I went back and did, like, re-critiques of previous Metroid games. The plan is to do something sort of similar for Prime. I don't know if it'll be on that level, but, you know, Prime 4 comes out next year. So in the lead up to that, I'm not just gonna like, do a review of Prime 4. I'll, like, go through and maybe I'll look at, like, Prime Remastered, maybe I'll replay 2 and 3, and, like, sort of, like, make smaller videos updating that. And then I also want to go ahead and take that opportunity to do Prime Hunters, Prime Pinball, and Federation Force. Which, now that I say all that out loud, maybe I won't do re-critiques of the previous Prime games, because that's gonna take some time already. But we'll see how it goes. Poe says, speaking of, when's the Dread review? I'll get around to it eventually. Oh, that's the joke, by the way. I see people being confused about that. In the years before I did the Dread review, whenever I would stream, like, I would have to answer the question about when I'm doing Metroid Dread over and over and over again, and it became a bit of an in-joke. Josh will do the Metroid Other M retrospective coming never. I don't know, I could do it with the, like, that quality of life improvement mod that I recommend. I think I talked about that in the original video. Like, 99% sure. I could play it based on that experience. Well, see, re-critiquing the main Prime trilogy in one video, like, it sounds like a good idea from, like, the perspective of, like, you guys, the audience, but to do that I would have to replay all 3 Prime games. And not that I'm opposed to doing that, but that would that would be a lot of work right up front. The only Prime game that I've replayed since I released those original episodes is Prime 1. I beat it again when the remaster came out. Yeah, if I was gonna re-review Prime, I would base it primarily on remastered, because that would be different. Kovar had a good idea that I could just I could review Prime Remastered by exactly copying the script of my original Prime video, with the only difference being that I'm using remastered visuals. I wouldn't actually do that, but that's a good idea. Kovar is just full of good ideas. That was close. This boss, by the way, man, I love this boss. This was, like, go back and watch the stream from a year ago. I spend, like, 40 minutes here, and I'm just... It is the best feeling finally beating it. And now it's fun to replay because it's like, I have that memory. I remember this being hard. And it doesn't help, it doesn't hurt that the music actually absolutely rules here. Although I haven't done it in quite a while, so it might get me. It's been quite a while since this boss has killed me. But it could happen. Especially if Mustard Face distracts me. Thank you, Mustard Face. Yeah, better pause it. If you do Prime Remastered review, make sure you add pointless new CGI effects and oh yeah, like the like the Star Wars special editions. That's a good idea. Episode 4 special edition was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. I remember asking my mom, "Hey, would it be okay? Do you think I could see a PG movie?" And she looked kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know about that." And then she's like, "Oh man, I don't know. What is it?" And then I was like, "Oh, it's Star Wars." And she's like, "Oh yeah, of course you can see Star Wars." I just keep getting bad luck on where those missiles are going. Okay, come on. See, I feel like normally that last one, like, it comes out like toward the middle there. Like, there's a reason that my muscle memory is telling me to stand there. But for whatever reason, this time it keeps ending up over on the side. Night Owl. I'm sorry, this seems to happen to you a lot. Just hold on to one ring. Okay. That one is going the same place as they keep going. Okay, I'm just gonna start assuming that it's gonna go over there. So, of course, now it's not. No, it still did. We're good. Probably gonna keep doing that. See, the real secret to being good at Sonic games is to just get good enough that you can always catch that one ring. I'm only partially choking. Oh, that should have counted. Come on. He blocks the missiles if you're too close to the front side of him. Oh, it's gonna be on the right side again. There we go. All right. I remember I was so happy the first time I got this. I was like, hell yeah, finally got him. And then... fuck you, you're not done. Yeah, I was really hopeful there'd be a Plus version. I think the difference is Origins and Mania didn't have physical editions released at first, whereas this did. And like a part of the point of the Plus versions of those games was that they were getting released on physical at the same time. I want to make sure I time this right. Didn't time it right, that's okay. It's very risky. Oh, yeah, very risky. If you're fast, you can... Oh, man, that was lucky as shit. I was like, I'm just gonna go without rings. I'm just gonna take the risk, but I ricocheted into it. But yeah, very, very risky to do that, but you can get a hit in there if you go up to him. And what I try to do there is, like, jump just as he activates the anti-gravity, which will, like, propel you to, like, to the top of the chamber. And it's making up for the bad luck that I was having with the water emerald power earlier. Oh no! Ah. I hesitated just a second too long there. Ah, well. See, bragging about having good luck makes you have bad luck immediately. That's the rules. I should have known better. And now, in the words of the Stage 2 boss from Parappa the Rapper, you gotta do it again. Is her name Instructor Mussolini? Am I remembering that right? But like Mussolini, that's the name pun. Levi's asking, this time you're gonna use the Emerald powers. See, I try to get more... I use the Emerald powers once he starts doing like his spinning attack, typically. I think I had like one more hit before he was gonna get there that time. God, watch me be here for like an hour. That would be hilarious. Okay. Yeah, see, you can kind of tell, I think, where the missiles are going to come out based on, like, the order that they pop out. And I think the, like, the last ones you see will tend to come in closer. This part kind of reminds me of Sonic 1's Final Zone, where he keeps dropping, those, like, electrified projectiles on you. Oh, thank you, Neo Arcadia. I'll look at what you said in a second. I'll look right now. 1 year already. Seems like the game came and went sadly. I enjoyed it. Hopefully Sega will improve and continue with Superstars. Oh yeah, hopefully. I mean, it was incredible just to have, like, Noto Oshima back on the project. But I'm also very curious to see, I guess, my dream scenario right now. I'm gonna focus on playing and not dreaming for a second. I guess my dream scenario right now would be, like, a Sonic game that's, like, a collaboration between Arzest and Evening Star. Because, you know, I'm very curious what they're working on now that Penny's Big Breakaway is out. So yeah, just like for those devs to work with Oshima and his team. Toho ass projectiles, yeah. Not having a checkpoint in between the boss phases is absolutely a pain in the ass, but it's also, like, a big part of the reason that it was so... that, like, beating it was such, like, a moment of triumph. Because, like, there's so much risk to this part. Just because of, like, if you lose, like, I know it's frustrating. It's, like, incredibly frustrating. And, like, the balance of that is really, really, really hard to get right, and it's going to be completely different for different types of players. But like this one, even though like it does frustrate me, it definitely strikes it for me. Oh, gotta get in there. See, the danger is if you're too slow and he like stops the gravity thing, then like you're just gonna fall directly into him and like probably fall in the pit. Oh, thank you, Mustard Face. Says, that mustache looks like a comb over from the back. Can't see the back right now, but yeah, probably. Thank you for the super chat. We're gonna kind of try to focus up here. I don't actually want to be here for an hour, but we'll... I'll stick with it as long as it takes. Yeah, we're doing this again. Yeah, see, got it that time. Fling yourself to the top of the chamber. See, I got a super chat. I'll go ahead and read it. Thank you, Damani Nagaima. I'm probably butchering that, and I apologize. Say, I've been watching since the first Metroid critiques. Many thanks for all the fantastic reviews. Do you have any specific hopes for Prime 4? Let me circle back to that when I'm not finding the final boss, because that's kind of a topic. Chat, if I happen to forget, remind me. I'll talk about that during the credits. Ooh, I think it's time. Yep, it's time. You activate Avatar and you just don't deal with that shit. See, Merely a Fan says, as I said, you can have bottomless pits, long length, and no checkpoints, but all three seems excessive. And see, I don't think you're even wrong there. And see, it would be nice if you at least dropped rings between phases. I don't think you're wrong there, but it goes back to what I said earlier. Like, the standards of what's acceptable to me when it comes to a final boss just, like, are totally, totally different. Because, like, a final boss should be, like, the game making this absolute last gambit to stop you from beating it by any means necessary. So, I can deal with a lot of bullshit when it comes to a final boss. Oh, yeah, and as I said a year ago when I beat that boss, it was something, I jumped up off the couch and, like, screamed, fuck yeah. That was, like, the best feeling in the world to finally get him. He says, I did this in slow-mo, I didn't think about Avatar. Slow-mo's useful too, though. But yeah, I think if you use Avatar on... when he has maybe 3 or 4 hits left, you should be able to get him with it. That does make it a lot easier. Oh, okay. Demand a gamer! That's not a Northern Maine accent, I don't think. I don't. Still gonna butcher it. Oh yeah, Trip squeezed into the ship. That's adorable. Okay, to go back to... the Mainer gamer. The Mainer gamer. The Mainer gamer! I'm walking here! I can't. Okay. Specific hopes for Prime 4? I suppose I would say... I'm gonna give my hand something to do while I talk about this. I don't know, I'm trying not to, like, overthink it. Both, I mean, and that's partly because, like, you know, I don't want to, like, get my hopes up. Sort of the way that I approach games that I'm excited about, if I can, and in most cases this works out for me, like, I try not to think about it too much until, like, the release date is imminent, you know what I mean? Like, when I like, realize, okay, it's just a few days away now I can sort of start to make it, like, real to myself. Because otherwise, you know, I'm just sitting there, like, dreaming about it and anticipating it and, like, getting all hyped up about it, and, like, that makes the wait seem like it takes a really long time. But I guess I would say with Prime 4, I'm hoping that it's not too much of, like, a retread. I'm hoping that like it has some like gameplay mechanics and innovations, and you know, I don't want it to just be like, okay, here's a further extension of Prime 3. Not that there would be anything wrong with that necessarily, just that like I'm hoping to see like some new power-ups and some new abilities, and maybe they could put the speed booster in. That would automatically probably make it my favorite Metroid Prime game if it somehow incorporated the speed booster. But yeah, like I said, try not to overthink it. Try not to think about it too much. It'll get here when it gets here. And again, thank you for the super chat. Night Owl says, lucky you, when I get excited about a game, I fixate on it. See, that's happened to me before. That used to be a lot. I used to do that, like, all the freaking time, like, when I was younger. And, yeah, eventually I sort of figured out, okay, it's better if I just try not to think about it too much, let the release date kind of sneak up on me, then get excited about it. Although, there are still cases, like, with Mania, with Sonic Mania and Sonic Generations, where the hype was too real. I spent, like, from the moment those games were announced until the moment they came out, I was like, come on! Dread was a little bit like that, too, admittedly, although the wait wasn't too long on that one, since it was announced at E3 and then it came out that fall. Thank you for being here. I'm kind of dumb. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, Sonic Heroes. Maybe Sonic Heroes was part of what taught me that lesson. Don't look forward to it too much, because it might let you down. Managamer says, yeah, that's a really good general advice. I've had to learn the hard way that via the Half-Life series. God, that's so funny. I remember I beat Half-Life 2, Episode 1, and Episode 2, I think in like 2008 or 2009, maybe? And even then, even all the way back then, we were still in like a perpetual state of like, when is Episode 3 coming out? When is Half-Life 3 coming out? So I remember I finished Episode 2 the first time, and my first thought after I beat it was like, and now I'm with the rest of them. And now I've joined the the crowd of people that's just anticipating the next one. At least we got Half-Life Alyx though. I still need to drop several $100s on a VR headset and play that. It's like, I mean, you know, if I bought a VR headset, I would be buying it for at least 2 games, because I would also really love to play Resident Evil 4 in VR. Just trying to justify it. Freezer says you really need to play a new Prince of Persia. You are 100% right about that. I got it on sale on the PS5 several months ago. I haven't even taken it out of the shrink wrap yet, though. But yeah, before the year is out, I should really try to like go back and hit some of these games that that I kind of mostly missed. Freezer, I remember when you got Prince of Persia, and like you just kept telling me you're gonna love this, you're gonna love this, you're gonna love this, and I know you're right, and I'll get to it. Steven says, that was fun. Thanks for showing it off, Josh. Oh, most of the games that I play on stream on this channel are Sonic games. And most of them are ones that I finished before. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, Half-Life 3 is like what Silk is very comparable to Silksong. Although at least like Silksong, like footage of it has been revealed, right? There's been trailers. It's just been a very, very long wait. Josh gets the VR helmet just to play emulated. I could do emulation. Yeah, that's true. I could play I could play Diddy Kong Racing. There are Virtual Boy emulators for the MetaQuest. There you go. Although, to properly get the full Virtual Boy experience, you really need, like... You'd have to, like, wear a VR headset, but, like, replace its visor with like, something made out of the same material as the Virtual Boy visor, because it has this very distinct, like, foamy smell that because of the association with the Virtual Boy, somehow it's like what my brain thinks that space smells like. And I know space would not smell like anything. It is space. But if space had a smell, it would smell like the Virtual Boy visor. Oh yeah, Bobble! The Astrobot DLC came out today. Yeah, I was like, well, I've already committed. You know, this has been in the works for months, because back in August I was like, okay, I'm not going to play through Superstar's main game until it reaches its birthday. I'm going to get some distance on it, I'm going to go back to it, and maybe it'll be fresh, and it'll be really, really fun. And it has been. But it was a little disappointing to be like, oh shit, I need to play Astrobot too. Although Alicia's probably downstairs, like, playing Metaphor ReFantazio as she has been ever since the moment it came out. So I might not be able to get on the PS5 anyhow. Space smells like weed, man. That'll be funny for me and Steven and no one else. Nobody else will know what we're doing. Time to Google, what does space smell like? But yeah, we can go ahead and return to the main menu. You don't gotta do the credits. I'm now going to try battle mode. And I'll go do that in my main game. I think I've probably got a Metal Knuckles bot here. So, if you have the Steam version of Sonic Superstars, and you want to try to play battle mode to see if it actually works, boot it up now. Yeah, Metal Knuckles. What else have I got? Let's see. How do you... Yeah, Mecha Sonic. I think I did at some point try to get all the robot parts. Looks like it anyway. Got lots of extra... I'll stick with Metal Knuckles. Alright, I guess I will create a game room. And we'll knock on wood. And the game locked up. And the game crashed! Okay. Well, give me a second. Maybe it's because of the mods. I'm going to try disabling those. That would be logical. Just dump all of these over here. Oh, Freezer messaged me on Steam earlier and said, when are you doing a Metroid Dread video that's 5 hours long? I mean, I could probably make it work if I had to. Yeah, let's disable this one too, just to be safe. Alright, hope that worked. I don't know, the mod loader is still coming up, so it might not. Oh, Steven, thank you for explaining the weed joke. Somebody asks, what's that Windows theme? I switch between Windows themes quite a bit. I've had like it on Vista for the past couple of months, so I decided to switch it to sort of being like Windows 9X. Have like the old style start menu and the Windows 98 logo over there. All right, I apologize for if anybody like re-downloaded Superstars or something to try to make this work. Hopefully it'll work this time. Create a game room. Well, it's not locking up immediately. That's a good sign. Nah, it's still gonna do it. All right, I'm sorry. I guess we're not doing that. Oh, Steven says his Sonic Heroes review is far kinder to the game than Josh was for the entirety of his... That is... You're not wrong, but man. that is very true, and that's telling, I think. Like that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when 2018 Josh is trying to be fair to Heroes. Man. You do not still need an Epic Games account for that. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. It rejected the concept of battle mode. I guess I could... I'd have to go downstairs and, like, hook a bunch of stuff up. I was gonna say I could maybe go, like, boot up the Switch version and play it on that instead. But, yeah, let's save that for... I do want to play battle mode with you guys, just because I don't think I've really ever played it with, like, other people. Maybe when it first came out, like, I could sometimes get, like, 1 or 2 people in battle mode, but it's never been very frequent, so that'd be fun. Somebody says the Heroes video wasn't that harsh. It wasn't like AVG Interness. Well, it wasn't that, but like for me, it was pretty dang harsh. Like, that's one of the only videos I've made where I did not at all enjoy the process of making it. Like, to a certain extent, I think some of it was cathartic, but like, you edit and you go on and on and on, and you have to keep looking at it, and you have to keep hearing yourself be mad, and just... The thing that I remember got me through is I kept reminding myself, okay, when I finish this video, I never have to play Heroes again if I don't want to. And the hilarious thing now is that now I actually enjoy playing Heroes. So, never get too married to your opinions, I guess. But alright, I think that's going to be it for now. Happy birthday to Sonic Superstars. Here's to many more, I guess. Like all my favorite games in this series, like, I played this for the first time, and one of the things that I walk away thinking about is, like, decades from now, you know, as long as I'm still able, I know I'm still going to be playing this game, just like the classics. Playing and replaying and enjoying and probably finding new things that blow my mind. So, have a good night, Steven. Have a good night, Night Owl. You got a good name for that. Have a good night, Merely a Fan. Aleech is not here, so I'll say drink lots of water, eat well, get good rest, take care of yourself. And until next time, you keep geeking. I'll keep critiquing. And, okay, Bobble, now it's time for Astrobot. Oh. I was like, why isn't it stopping? Did I